Welcome to Season 3 of Soul Spark. These episodes are brain snacks, brief bite-sized reflections from my personal journey, designed to be digested in just a few minutes. I want to keep things real here, which means these recordings, much like life itself, are perfectly imperfect. You might hear a pigeon outside my window, a scooter passing by, or me simply stumbling over a word. I'm not here to tell you how to live or what to do. I'm just here to share my unpolished stories and the questions I've wrestled with along the way. My hope is that by sharing what's moved me, I might just spark something in your soul today. Let's dive in. Episode 26: The Paradox of Simplicity. Have you ever lost your keys, spent an hour frantically tearing your house apart, turning over cushions and emptying drawers, only to realize they were sitting in your pocket the entire time? We humans have a very strange obsession. We are absolutely convinced that if our problem is big, deep, and painful, the solution must be incredibly complicated. We think that healing our lives requires a 10-step master plan, enormous library of books, and years of intense mental gymnastics. We worship complexity because it gives our active, busy egos a difficult puzzle to solve. In late December 2025, as the year was coming to a close, I sat down in the quiet of my living room to reflect on my journey for the last few years. I had been doing the heavy lifting, I had faced the scary quiet void, I had confronted the heavy expectations of my lineage, I had laid on a mat, shaken the trauma out of my muscles, I had completely rewritten the script of the working Dennis. I had spent all this time searching for the grand formula. I thought I was going to uncover a highly sophisticated intellectual answer to the meaning of my life. But as I read back through my own journal, the heavy, complicated fog suddenly cleared. What I found at the absolute bottom of all that searching wasn't a complex equation. It was a truth so basic, it almost made me laugh. I realized that every single struggle, every tear on the mat, every physical pain in my knee, and every moment of deep anxiety had all just been pointing me back to one single thing: connection. That is the great paradox of simplicity. It often takes a massive, exhausting journey through the absolute most complicated parts of your mind just to arrive back at the basic truth. We have to strip away decades of heavy armor, societal expectations, and loud intellectual noise just to remember how to be a simple human being again. I realize that true peace isn't found in finally figuring out the secret of the universe. True peace is simply feeling the ground beneath your feet. It is the ability to look at the person sitting across from you at the dinner table and actually see them, without the thick glass of your own judgment in the way. It is the quiet, unbroken connection between your active mind and your resting body. For almost 50 years, my ego treated my life like a complicated machine that needed to be constantly tuned, fixed, managed, and upgraded. But the soul doesn't want to fix anything. The soul just wants to connect. When that profound, simple realization finally sank into my bones, the very last bit of tension left my shoulders, I realized I didn't need another podcast. I didn't need to read another philosophy book. I didn't need to constantly, obsessively work on myself anymore. I just needed to exist, right here, right now, and be fully connected to the beautiful life I had already built. The hardest thing in the world is to stop making things harder than they need to be. So, I want to ask you, where in your life are you frantically searching for a complicated answer to a very simple problem? What if the profound truth you're looking for is already sitting quietly in your pocket? What if you gave yourself permission today to put down the exhausting burden of figuring it all out and simply choose to connect with the moment right in front of you? Did I spark your soul today? Thank you for sharing this perfectly imperfect space with me today. As you step back into the rush of your world, remember that you don't need to have it all figured out. and you certainly don't need to perform for anyone. Sometimes just sitting with the messy questions is exactly where you need to be. May this brain snack offer you a deep breath and a moment of stillness in the noise. And remember, embrace the spark.